Good evening, and on behalf of the Board of Education of Dearborn Public Schools, I'd like to welcome Jim Thorpe to this interview for an appointment to a seat on the Dearborn Board of Education as well as the Henry Ford College Board of Trustees. Mr. Thorpe, I'm going to tell you real quickly the process tonight. First, we'll introduce the board, and then the interview will take up to 15 minutes with time remaining periodically shown on a flip chart here. And we'll show you the time remaining at 5 minutes, 1 minute, and 15 seconds. There will be approximately 3 to 5 questions, depending on how quickly we get through them. We will provide you an opportunity within that 15 minutes to give us a closing statement, or if you'd like, you can ask questions of the board.
Okay.
Okay? We'll start with Trustee Bazey.
Miriam Bazey.
Mary
name is here by phone.
Roxanne McDonald.
Mary Petlichkoff.
Michael Mead. Aye.
Okay, Mr. Thorpe, I'm going to ask you the first question, and that is, why are you interested in serving on our Board of Trustees at this time?
The time was very opportune for me. I've had 2 other obligations that have recently ended, so I had free time available. So when I saw that the position was open, I was very intrigued by it. I am a lifelong Dearborn resident, born and raised here, went through the public schools. I've got 2 children in the Dearborn Public Schools, so I'm now a parent in the district, and I'm also a business owner in the district. So I can look at things through 3 different angles, that of a parent, that of a business owner, and that of a resident.
What specific skills and or qualifications do you believe you would bring to the Board of Trustees?
I am a financial advisor, have been for the last 17 years, and now focused as a certified financial planner for the last 7. So I've got a deep financial background that I could use to help out with the finances, both at the K-12 and the college side. I've also got extensive experience in the community through groups like the Chamber of Commerce, the Rotary group of Club of Dearborn, the Dearborn Education Foundation was a group that I was on. So I've got a lot of contacts in the community, and I'm able to touch people in all different walks of life.
How do you see the roles and responsibilities of a member of our board?
The school board, in my eyes, is there to oversee what's happening, both on the K-12 and the college side. Not really get into the day-to-day. Sometimes I'm detail-oriented, and I like to get into that, but trying to stay above that as much as I possibly can and let the professionals do their job. I don't know how to teach, so let the teachers teach. I don't know how to run a staff, so let them do that. My job will just be to be there, to learn about all that, to work with the rest of the group on the different topics that we've got at hand, and really just help with communication between all the parties.
How do you envision becoming a productive, contributing member of the existing governance team, which includes the current 6 board members, as well as the superintendent and the college president?
Well, unlike all of you that were elected, I would have a much quicker turnaround time before I would start. So I would have to do a quick study, and I would imagine what I would do is look back through minutes or the past couple of months to see what are the main issues that are being dealt with at that time. Meeting with the key stakeholders at both of the institutions, getting to know people, and really just continue to talk with the parents that I know and meet new parents, find out what their concerns are.
Given that both the Dearborn Public Schools and Henry Ford College share the same common Board of Trustees, what unique challenges and or opportunities do you believe are created by this relationship? There's a 2-part question. Did you want to take that one first, or?
I'll start with the opportunities.
Okay.
The fact that we are able to encourage students in high school to enroll at the college and take some of those basic classes when they're still in high school is a big benefit. I know there's several different programs that are going on that way. and I'm still trying to figure out what all of them are. But right now, one of my big concerns, and a concern for many parents, is how am I going to afford a college education for my kids? Well, we're lucky enough that we could have them earning some of those college credits when they're still in high school. And if you ask my kids right now where they're going to go to college, they both will say we're going to do HFCC for a couple of years, which I like as a big money saver for me. So that's one of the big opportunities that I see. One of the big challenges I would assume would be the fact that we kind of would have to wear two different hats, seeing things from both the K-12 side and the college side. They've got the same purpose, but they have to go about them very differently. With the college side, you've got to figure out how do you recruit these students. They've got so many different options. You look at online learning is becoming a larger and larger thing. So how do you integrate that? Do you need to upgrade facilities to get the best and the brightest to come? Or do you just make sure that you've got the staff that is well trained so that they will bring the good students to them? So those are some of the challenges that I see, is that just remember that sometimes you're on the K-12 side, sometimes you're maybe on the college side, and they could oppose each other.
The second part to that question is, how do you see the two institutions collaborating on behalf of the students and this community?
Well, I think they already do a lot with the dual enrollment, the early college, and the other programs. And I would almost turn it to not really just between the K-12 and the college, but just the college and all the other institutions. Because the college can also be a stepping stone for the other universities in the area. You've got U of M Dearborn right next door, so they need to have a good relationship to move the students along if they need a four-year degree that they're not able to attain at the college. You've got a lot of good people at both institutions. Are they communicating? Are they sharing ideas with each other? If they're not, how can we bring them together so that can be happening?
Now, we have lots of time left. I told you it's a man thing. We have lots of time left. So with the time that's remaining, is there anything that you'd like to add? If you prepared a closing statement, you can do that, or you can ask the board a question.
Let me review my notes because I knew I'd probably talk quicker than I meant to. Let me see. I view one of the positions of being a board member is to be out in the community, to be visible, and also to be approachable. Because you've got 19,000 plus kids in that district, in this district. And somebody told me years ago that if you screw up, it's their kids that are going to pay. So it is a very big responsibility to be on that board. So anytime you can be out there communicating with them, it's a benefit. You're going to make mistakes. Everybody does. Own the mistake, apologize for the mistake, and move on. We can only do the best we can with the knowledge that we've got. So that would be one thing. The other thing I would add is this. When I was in college, I learned something along the lines of, you only know what you know. And there's things that you know you don't know, but there's also things that you don't know that you don't know. Right now, for this position, there's a lot that I know that I don't know. And I know that if I got the position, then I'd find out that don't know is that you don't know, just like everyone else did. So I would be leaning on everyone else on the board and in the community to help me out in those respects, to get me up to speed. A question, again, leading back to the first question that you asked about why, and I kind of gave more of a why now. I just came off a one-year search committee for my local church to find a new pastor, and we took a full year to do it. So my heart goes out to you that have had to find a replacement to a person on the board, to a superintendent, and just a couple of years ago to a college president. You've had to deal with an awful lot. I know only to a degree the things that you're going through with all the candidates that you have to talk to. But I do want to let you know that you're in my thoughts.
Thank you.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Nope.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thorpe,
Thank you for your time today.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your willingness to serve. And as you know, there were 20 candidates. That we have dropped down to 19. One has withdrawn. We will let you know in a timely fashion where you stand in the process.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I really want to know.
We can go out of order. I have no issue with that.
I don't, if everyone else is fine with going out of
Mary,
order.
our next candidate is not here. He's not late, though, is he? He's just...
No, 7
Okay.
p.m., so he's like 3 more minutes is his
Yeah,
interview,
he's
but-
not late, so we're just going to jump ahead to Mr. Bartles,
Okay.
okay? With 3 men left, it should take 2 minutes. Good evening.
Good evening.
On behalf of the Board of Education of Dearborn Public Schools, I'd like to welcome Roger Bartles to this interview for an appointment of a seat on the Dearborn Board of Education, as well as the Henry Ford College Board of Trustees. Mr. Bartles, I'm going to take just a moment to explain the process. I'm going to have the board members introduce themselves to you real quickly. The interview may take up to 15 minutes. There will be a time chart here with periodically showing you how much time is remaining at 5 minutes left, 1 minute left, as well as 15 seconds. There will be approximately 3 to 5 questions depending on time. I don't think we'll have any problems getting through all 5 of them. We will give you an opportunity within that 15-minute block for you to make a closing statement, or if you had questions of the board, or anything else that you'd like to do with the remaining of your time. First of all, start with Trustee Bazey.
Miriam Bazey.
Hello, Mary Lane.
Roxanne McDonald.
Mary Petlicoff.
Mike Mead.
Mr. Bartles, the first question I'd like to ask you is, why are you interested in serving on the Board of Trustees at this time?
I made a conscious decision in the last election to run for the board, knowing that I work for the school district and would have to retire at that point. I'm getting of that age where I can retire, and I have the years of seniority of over 30. I've worked for the district in many different capacities, and I think I have a unique or different understanding of the operations of the district that would allow me to have slightly different perspectives or viewpoints and look at different things. And even though we've done a pretty good job of getting things done with the money we have, we can always do a little better. I've seen things that were done repetitiously in certain fields that, maybe if we watch that money a little bit, it's not a lot, it's 50 grand here, 80 grand there, but it adds up. And, the object is to think outside the box. I believe I'm very good at that. And therefore I would bring a new and different, not new, but a different perspective to board members.
Okay. That kind of leads into the next question, which is, which specific skills and qualifications do you believe you would bring to this board?
A lot of institutional knowledge. As many of our board members have been on the board for quite a while, I've also been with the district since 1982. Worked at the college, I've worked at the K-12, seen the good times, seen the bad times. Worked as a union president for one of our unions, and have had to deal with contracts in the bad times, and hopefully good times are coming again. It's circulatory. I've seen, when I can remember when O.L. Smith had 170 kids, and now we're fortunate that it's fall. So, I I bring a different perspective or look at things. Just different ideas or different ways of doing things, maybe. I don't necessarily think that every time I think of something that's right, but if you don't at least put it out there, you don't find out if it's right or not.
Mary, are you having any trouble hearing?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. How do you see the roles and responsibilities of a member of this Board of Trustees?
The Board of Trustees is, and especially in Dearborn here with the K-14 district, has a unique role. But basically, the description is you are the representative of the electorate or the taxpayer to make sure that the funds are spent in the best possible way to afford our kids the best education we can. And that's a tough job.
How do you envision becoming a productive, contributing member of the existing governance team, which of course includes the 6 of the current trustees, as well as the new superintendent and the college president?
Well, I haven't had a chance to work too much with the college president, the new college president. I've worked with Dr. Mead, and I've worked with other presidents out there going back. But the board here and superintendent and associate superintendents I've known for years. I've sat across the table from some of those, Glenn Malenko and them. So I understand that. I think they very much understand my points of view, and we're not always going to think exactly the same. But I have a very deep respect for their opinions and their ways of doing things. And they are the trained educator, and they should be the overseers of the education of our students. We're basically the overseers of the money. And, what programs can be added, or unfortunately at times, what programs must be cut. And we're to oversee that we're not spending money on programs that aren't successful or as successful as possible. If there's a better program, not just because it's new, and I very much am against that. I've stood in front of this board and when we've changed math programs and said, 2 and 2 is still 4. It's not, a great change. Why are we changing this? It costs a lot of money. Sometimes those changes are good. Sometimes you might just be buying a salesman's hype. And that's kind of what our job is to try and weed through, is this somebody's wants or is this somebody's needs? And needs are what we have to address. Wants come if we have any money left. Sometimes that don't always happen here. I've seen things that went through that were people's wants, not necessarily their needs. And, if I can just point out 1 or 2 of them, and save us a few dollars, that's another program or another venture that we can look at it on something else. And I may never see one of those. Because they don't happen every day here. We do a pretty good job.
How do you envision becoming a productive, contributing member of the existing governance team? Oh, that was the question I just asked. I wrote my notes above that, that's why, I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's been a long few days. Given that both Dearborn Public Schools and the Henry Ford College share a common board of trustees, what unique challenges and/or opportunities do you believe are created by this relationship? This is a 2-part question. Do you want to start with that?
Opportunities are tremendous, and we've explored a lot of them already. I supported the previous superintendent in the 5-year high school, or kids coming out of high school with an associate's degree. I highly support that program. That program should be expanded. I believe it's good for the college. I believe it's good for Dearborn schools. I think it's good for the kids. Where else can you come out with, and there are a few communities that are trying to do it, that you can come out with free an associate's degree. I mean, we have that facility here. We have real close communications with, and the interlinks between Dearborn schools and the college are just, it's intertwined so tightly that it gives us a unique advantage to expand those kind of programs for what the kids need. And the college also offers us the ability to offer to kids who are not going to necessarily go to their master's degree, but need training in certain types of trades or skills to be employable. And I very much believe that if the kid is not going through college all the way or whatever, and that's where we encourage them to go, there's no doubt about that, but they need to come out of school with an ability to make a living. Not, oh, I got a high school diploma, but I really don't know anything. You know, so we have those things available through the college and through the school district. And the intertwining can probably expand a lot of that. And I believe it can, because like I said, I supported the 5-year school when it may not have been the most popular thing. It definitely wasn't with the state when we first started that fight. But those are the kind of things that are going to be outstanding for this district in the future.
The second part to that question is, how do you see the two institutions collaborating on behalf of the students and this community?
When I was running, I had an opportunity to talk to both the superintendent, who has now left us, but Glenn is continuing on, and the president of the college, and was assured by both of them that the points that I was just discussing, where we need to work together and try to expand some of these programs to benefit the kids, needed to go on. They both felt very strongly about it. They also both felt strongly about the kids' need to be able to function in life when they come out of school, whatever level it is. So I believe that those abilities to work together, depending on what resource we need, it opens up another whole group of resources from the college, and hopefully that means that we can gear the education in the K-12 so that they don't have to take remedial classes and stuff when they get to college, so that they're all geared to go into college and do well and successfully in college.
Well, we have plenty of time left, so if there's anything that you'd like to add, or if you've prepared a closing statement, feel free.
Well, unfortunately, I haven't had a lot of time. I was called when I was taking my daughter down to Clemson University. She's doing her master's down there, so I was in South Carolina, and I drove back in about 2 hours ago. So
Well,
I'm a little tired and a
it's
little
an easy
going
one,
here.
right?
But I really do thank the board for the opportunity to be here. It's unfortunately we lost a well-established board member. I believe that I can offer and do offer responsible decision-making abilities. I've done it for the district in the past when we had power outages nationwide, or a third of the nation, and other things that have happened in the district. So I've demonstrated that I have those abilities. I don't want to shoot from the hip. I don't like being pushed into a corner. I want to do my research. I will know my research before I make a decision or push it, but it doesn't take me a month to find the research either. So those are qualities that I bring with me. Sound, level-headed, have to live in a budget, understand needs, understands that I want bigger and better things, but I need to have this covered. And that's not that we don't have it, but it's a very valuable point for the school board. You have to work cooperatively to achieve progress, not work, even though you may disagree with them in that process, but not work just to disrupt or slow down the progress.
Thank you. And as you probably know, while we had 20 candidates, we have dropped down to 19 at this point. We will let you know on a timely basis where you stand in the process, and we thank you for your time and your willingness to serve.
I appreciate your time and your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll start with the first question. Oh, I'm sorry, we have to introduce everyone.
There you go.
Miriam Bazzi.
Nice to meet you.
Mary Lane by telephone.
Roxanne McDonald.
Hello, Mary.
Mary Petlichkoff.
Hi.
Mike Mead.
Nice to meet you.
The first question I'd like to pose to you is, why are you interested in serving on the Board of Trustees at this time?
Well, I've had involvement in pretty much everything my children have done through the years with the Dearborn Public Schools. And they're getting older, and I'm at a point where I have a little more time myself to devote to this kind of volunteer work, but also I've had the perspective of seeing what's been beneficial throughout their cycle. I have my last one is at Dearborn High right now, as a sophomore in 10th grade, actually going into 11th grade. I had a son graduate this year, 2015, and I had a son graduate in 2013 who's now at Henry Ford College. So I've seen a lot of different perspective over those years. My son, who's at Henry Ford College, was also at DCMST. So I've been exposed to the great workings of that environment. And honestly, I'm here because I've been very proud of what our schools have done and the work you have done, former superintendent, and I'm sure the new superintendent, but that pride is in not only my own kids and what they've received from their education and from their extracurricular activities, but it's in the families that I've been exposed to through all the different sports and clubs and theater and marching band and all the different things that my kids have had opportunities for. And so I'm really, I mentioned earlier in my letter of interest that I'm thanking you all for all the hard work you have done over the years to make that such a great experience for them. I'd like to step up and do my part to make sure that that continues, which I'm sure it will. I see you have a great list of candidates ahead of you here, and it's quite a task selecting, I'm sure. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm not coming in with any kind of agenda or special interest of doing something with that. I want to offer my times, my talent to helping keep our schools in the great, track that they're on right now. I mean, it's an exciting time here at Dearborn Public Schools, that's for sure.
What specific skills and or qualifications do you believe you would bring to our board?
Excuse me. Well, I think, the biggest thing is that I work well in a team environment. And so my role in what I do for a living is a product manager, which means I lead a team, a multicultural team of developers. It's a digital products is what we work in. So I work well across the board, hearing different opinions, ideas. As the manager of it, I'm also tasked with making tough decisions, from budgets to personnel to timelines, priorities, and having to do it on a tight timeline basis. Listen to all the facts. I research whatever I have to. I pull in resources and advisory people to help me make those kind of decisions, and that's as a manager at my job. In a board situation, I do that, but it's to influence my vote, just to make sure that I know everything about what I'm expected to place a vote on. And for an education standpoint, I have many resources that family, friends that have worked in the education environment. My mother-in-law was a principal for many years herself in the Warren district, and I think what I would bring is an open mind, a cooperative and working together kind of understanding of the goals, and basically just again, with digital, things change all the time, and if you don't do research and work ahead and find out what's important and what you should be looking at, then you're not successful. So that's just part of what I do.
How do you see the role and responsibilities of a member of this board?
That's a short question, but a big one. When I said it's an exciting time at Dearborn Public Schools, I think it's a little different than it's been in the past with some of the tough decisions you've all been faced with. I think right now we are in a really good place. And there are some important decisions. You made one with the superintendent. I know there's other key positions that are going to be hiring and some changes there. And I think, the role of that board member is to be open-minded, to think about, what is in the best interest of the schools, and maybe not always popular, but, what makes the most sense both budgetary and with our priorities to keep this district, on the right path.
How do you envision becoming a productive contributing member of the existing governance team, which includes the 6 current board members, this new superintendent, as well as the college president?
Well, and again, I think I pretty much stated that that I'm not looking at this as an opportunity to come in with an idea that I want to see something happen. I'm coming in with an idea that I want to put my time and talent and resources to work for the board, for the new superintendent, to help take that vision that they've already established and make sure that, I don't see any issues, that I'm a problem solver as well. So when I see something that's a red flag, I make sure I point it out, but not to come in with an idea that I want us to go in this direction. And I think that, I'm sure, as you're looking at candidates, there may be some that have that, and I think that's better left to the election and letting, if they have a concept, an idea of where they'd like to see us go, then if it's what the people want to see, then that's more of an elected position. But I think when you're hiring for a replacement like this, you want someone who's dedicated, who's reliable, who puts the work in, but doesn't necessarily have that, a particular perspective. I'm very open to listening, to learning, to contributing, and yeah.
The next question is a 2-part question.
Okay.
So I'll start with, given that both Dearborn Public Schools and the Henry Ford College share a common board of trustees, what unique challenges and/or opportunities do you believe are created by this relationship?
So, I know that there's opportunities now for dual enrollment for the students, but I think taking advantage of having the campus, the professors there, in any way to expose the students of the public schools, and making it a easy, clear path that if that's what they're looking for, that they can stay in the system. And really today, so many kids decide to stay at home, to live at home after leaving high school, that we've got 2 great options for them for further education there. But with the perspective of how a student can go from elementary, high school, and then directly into Henry Ford College, I think there's a lot of shared opportunities that can be taken from one to the other. And I think exposing those options and making sure that the students are aware of what's available to them. One of the things I would say is, I think we have a great story to tell here, and as far as Dearborn Public Schools, and I think the people that live in Dearborn know that. I don't know that everyone outside of it knows it coming in as a district. I think I would say the same, that the students that are in our schools right now may not know enough about the opportunities at Henry Ford College. And I think that maybe they need to be able to see and experience some of that on a little bit more intimate basis to know what's available to them after the fact.
The second part of that question is, how do you see both institutions collaborating on behalf of the students and of this community?
So that one, I think I would take a little more time to think about. I don't know that I have a quick answer on that right now. Not having that question in my head to kind of bubble through and think about the best ways about that.
Well, that is the last question, and we have 5 minutes. If you
Wow.
want to share your closing remarks or have questions or whatever, and we can come back to that question in a moment, or if you just want to take a minute to think about it.
Sure. Well, I mentioned the story we have to tell, and I think that's important overall. And regardless if I'm a member of this board or this is my opportunity to suggest it, is I think sharing our secret of what a great great district we have here is important, and getting it into the minds of future families, future parents, future students. Future parents, meaning they may not have even decided yet where they're going to settle down. There's that critical point where the young people are thinking about, okay, if they're starting to get married and then, they're looking for their first house. And before they get to that point, you want to have in their minds what a great district. It's something that you can expose to them in ways that they haven't even noticed or thought about. But something that when they're looking around and saying, where should we buy a house? Where should we settle down? This community is, such a fabulous environment. And highlighting the successes of diversity in our schools and showing off what great programs we have, what passionate educators and extracurricular programs, the theater, the bands, the sports in all our schools. Making that stuff known, showing off the DCMST kids and their great science experiments and that kind of thing, in a way where when those families are ready to decide where are we establishing our home front, that they're thinking Dearborn, because the people that live in Dearborn know that, and they move back right here because no one wants to leave this community, and that's great, and we should all be really proud of that. But we also want to make sure that we're recruiting the best and the brightest, both in administrators, educators, but also the best and the brightest students coming into our area. And I think it's a good tactic to take. Again, closing remarks, I'd just say that I've volunteered on so many levels, from Cub Scouts, Boy Scout, I've been a Cub Master, I've been an Assistant Scout Master, I've been a youth basketball coach, youth baseball coach. I've involved myself in the video program at Dearborn High. I've had a float built at my house. I've had, anything that's going on. Sports, we've been the team parents and set up a team camp for our son's soccer team. We're very, very involved, both my wife and I, and this is, another opportunity for me, now that my time is becoming more available since my children are older, to make sure that that's going on. That I'm still involved, that the kids I'm caring about, which is very true now, are not my kids. They're all the kids of this community. I've met so many great families and so many great kids throughout every aspect of this city. And that's what's been great for my sons that play sports and the theater and different things like that. That there's been a cross building, that they have rivals at the other schools, but really they're respecting each other's talents, and they're really good friends, and they hang out together and play basketball on the side, even though when the Forts and Dearborn High get on the court, they're looking at each other, like, I'm going to take you down. They're really good friends. And I love that. I love that about our community, and I'd love to be a part of making sure that continues. Out of time?
We do have a little bit of time left.
Oh.
Did you want me, where are we at? We're at 1 minute. Did you want me to read that other portion of the question and see if anything comes to mind, or?
How could we collaborate between the schools and Henry Ford College to be more involved in the community?
To benefit the students and the community.
To benefit the students in the community. I'd wanna look into more about what we're doing right now and come back with some ideas. I don't have a clear answer for that question at this moment, and I'm sorry about that.
That side of the table is tough to be on.
Honestly, I think that's something that, I know you guys may have been thinking about and dealing with for a while, and I'd love to participate in that discussion and be part of that solution.
Thank you. It's tough to be on that side of the table, I know it. Just
It's
to
tough
let
to be
you
on
know-
that side of the table, too, I will say.
Excuse me, just to let you know, we started off with 20 candidates. We're down now to either 18 or 19. And we will let you know in a timely manner where you stand in the process. So we appreciate your
Great.
interest and we appreciate
And I
your...
know, if anyone has questions or further things over the weekend, you can reach me. I don't know if 15 minutes was enough for what you guys have to do and really get to know all the candidates that you're dealing with. So if anything else comes up, feel free to ask away after.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I'm sorry. Did I say something really quick?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
guess just a thought as to that gentleman that didn't come. We didn't interview him, but since he didn't withdraw, I guess I would assume we'd still consider him. However, I'm sure we're going to consider the fact that he didn't make it to his interview. So,
Right. He's still not here? Okay. Then agreed, absolutely.
He's still in the mix.
exactly.
Next item, please.
Adjournment.
Woohoo! We are adjourned.
Smack that sucker.
You're just way into it.